You are living just like a household dog and are eating remnants of food given by you.
You know, what a thing to say, you know. I mean,
Despite your unwillingness to die and your desire to live even at the cost of honor and prestige, your miserly body will certainly dwindle and deteriorate like an old garment.
now we were hearing Prabhupada in the previous, he said that unpalatable truth, you know, should not be spoken. So what about this? This is also truth and it's not very palatable. So palatable means, you know, tasty. Not very sweet words. So what principles can be drawn from this example of Vidura? What lessons can we draw from this example? Yes.
Like this is Vidura's acting as a guru chastising his disciple for better. Like he has tolerated
Good.
so much Dhritarashtra.
Good.
but
That's
now-
what's happening. My question is, what lessons can we draw from that for our own application, let's say, as preachers? Sundari Gopi?
This was an urgent situation. Yeah, if he would have just lived like that, he would have certainly gone to hell. So in an urgency, you need to be a little more stricter in your,
Okay.
maybe not palatable, but the truth has to be conveyed.
Because we could say that everyone's in a similarly urgent situation. We could say that. I mean, that's what. Yes, we don't know when you're going to leave.
It's true.
I don't know when you're going to leave. Like Jagataka Samaraj, his mother said, you know, your spiritual life, when you're later in how long am I going to live, mother? He asked, you know, can you guarantee me 1 year? What you know, it's true that what you're saying. I mean, he's definitely, it's a priority. He's prioritizing this interaction. He's prioritizing this main thing. You know, he's come there to deliver him. He has the objective of delivering him. So that's a general lesson we can learn. You go out of your way to show kindness. Yes? No. Ravati Nandan, some lessons we can draw from this strategy, the strategy of Vidura.
The lessons we can draw from it would be different if Vidura would miss his preaching, but in that case it was successful. Because later with the Dhritarashtra would change.
You mean you're suggesting if Dhritarashtra had just stayed at home, then probably we would have called Vidura a fanatic.
Yeah, because we have to judge by the fruits.
A fundamentalist, you know,
Here,
heavy preacher.
he have been straight to the point, and Dhritarashtra accepted it. That means the lesson we can learn is we can be forceful, and in the same time we can be accepted.
Yeah, we could say that at the right time, then you have to come up with the goods, right? It's not that he could see what his responsibility was at that time, and he fulfilled it, you know, and successfully. Less.
I think here Vidura is an expert person. We can learn from that when we are preaching, we have to be able to see how actually we can get our message to the person.
Yeah. Yeah, how to get the message to them, how to influence them, you know, how to affect them, how to have an impact on them, an observable impact. I mean, he has a big impact on Vidura, on Dhritarashtra. So yeah, we should become expert. I guess my question is what is that expertness? How to become expert? But I think we covered it. That, you know, when required, he's able to speak in such a way that just by hearing, it was just by association with and hearing from Vidura that he got awakened. So that's a lesson for us, you know. That let's take it from the preaching point of view. Okay, we should be prepared to be able to effectively tell the truth. And then from the other point of view, if we're bewildered, we should be prepared to take association and hear from an advanced soul, because it can remove the illusion. At the end of Gita, Krishna asks, Kachchit etat shrutam partha. Have you heard this? Tva ekagrana cheta. With attention. Kachchit ogyana shamoha. Where is your ignorance and forgetfulness? Pranastas te dhananjaya. Have they not been completely removed as a result of hearing with attention? And Prabhupada quoted here, Lavamatra Sharushang. He quotes Mahaprabhu saying, Lavamatra Sharushang Shara Shiti Hoy. Here's an example. Just a moment. You can find so many interesting examples of that. Just a few moments, instructions, and had such a big effect on people.
Is the relationship between Dhritarashtra and Yudhishthira and Vidura and Dhritarashtra will affect also the way one will approach, because one was brother,
Yeah.
was mostly the son.
Yeah.
So as a son, I can imagine that Yudhishthira will come.
Yeah,
directly,
sure.
And as a brother, there is more.
That's a good
equality.
point. That's a good point. That the message should come from someone who's in the appropriate status to be able to give advice, you know, and not just up to anybody. But Vidura was a trusted confidant of Dhritarashtra, so he was able to give that type of like a brotherly. He could speak straight. He was. Perhaps there was no one else there that actually could speak like that. No one else. Yeah, examples of Lavamatra, Sharushanga. I mean, can you think of examples? Lavamatra from our literary works. Lavamatra, Sharushanga, Sharvashiddhi Hoy.
Narad Muni and Brihari.
Yeah. Wasn't very extensive association. Lavamatra, Sharushanga, Sharvashiddhi Hoy.
Dhruva Maharaj.
Dhruva, Narad Muni, yeah.
Haridas Thakur and Maya Devi.
Okay, yeah. A few moments
She was
association.
chanting.
Yeah. Prabhupada is an example.
Yes.
Just on the rooftop at Altadanga, he said it. You should preach in English language. I mean, that's a moment's association. And had that's why we're all here. Because Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave that order. You've been to Altadanga Road. You wasted your lives. We're so close. Altadanga. It's such a powerful place.
Bhaktivinoda Ashram.
Yeah, Bhaktivinoda Ashram. Such a powerful place. Amazing. Amazing. The potency that you feel the spiritual potency of that place. I mean, most of the Gaudiya Math preaching was conducted with that as the headquarters, a small little rented premises, up until 1932. So more than 10, 12 years of the Gaudiya Math preaching, most of the preaching. Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that was the headquarters of Gaudiya Math, such a place. Please read.
Sadhu is to speak to the householders about the naked truth of life, so that they may come to their senses about the precarious life and material existence.
Yeah, we were saying that, from both points of view, from the preacher's point of view, we can learn some strategies here in terms of effective preaching, and also from the illusions, from the point of view of those of us in illusion, that we should. Dhritarashtra wasn't seeking out sadhu. He wasn't. Vidura came and just showed mercy on him, but in principle, such association can remove illusion. Please read.
At the present moment, there are Dhritarashtra's in every home. To stick to family life, the end of one's human life is the grossest type of degradation, and there is an absolute need for the Viduras to educate such Dhritarashtra even at the present moment.
Joy Prabhupada. Yeah, so if that's not going to inspire us, what will? If that's not going to inspire us, what will? To give a life to become a missionary of the Bhagavatam. There's Dhritarashtras in every home. So when they came in the morning, Yudhishthira is coming in and he's showing respects and all the places. What is that, 32? Can someone read? What is he? He goes, it's 32, verse 32. Read what he does. He goes and visits.
Maharaj Yudhishthira, full of anxiety, turned to
No, before that, he mentions that he goes and sees the seniors and pays respects, and then he sees Yudhishthira. Yeah, what's that? Can you read? Read now.
Maharaj Yudhishthira, whose enemy was never born,
Yeah.
performed his daily morning duties by praying, offering 5 sacrifice the sun god, and offering obeisances, grains, cow, land, and gold to the Brahmanas.
Yeah,
He then entered the palace to pay respect to elderly.
yeah, amazing.
However, he could not find his uncle and aunt, the daughter of King.
It's his daily routine of fire sacrifice to the sun god and offering charity of gold, what is it, cows, grains every day. It's his morning program before he even goes to the office. That's Raja Rishi. That's Raja Rishi, and then going in to show respect. Amazing. So he goes, he finds that Dhritarashtra, Gandhari are gone. So what does he think? What is his response?
Sorry, Prabhuji.
What does he suspect? When he goes in, he sees Dhritarashtra and Gandhari gone. What does he suspect?
He feels that because of me not taking proper care, they had left. It's my fault.
Yeah, yes.
He can imagine that they have drawn themselves into the Ganga.
Yeah.
Thinking himself guilty as a result of causing so much, pain in his heart. So can you take a look at verse 30? Yes.
Just a question regarding to what we just talked before.
Yeah.
Why is Yudhishthira worshipping the sun god and not Narayan? Is it
Surya Narayan. Surya Narayan. Yeah. We were just in Jagannath Puri. We went to Konark Sun Temple. That's pretty spectacular. Sun Temple. You can imagine, that's Vedic culture. You can imagine there that they were worshipping every day the sunrise. But that's Surya Narayan, worshipping Surya Narayan.
so when
It says, and that Konark temple, you see there's all the big chariot wheels, 16 chariots around the temple there. As he goes, it's described in the Bhagavatam, his sojourn, Surya Narayan, his sojourn is worshipped.
Even in the Krishna story of 10th chapter of Bhagavatam, every day early morning after wake up, when the sun arrives, Krishna also pays obeisance to the sun god. Every day.
Yeah. Sometimes Narendra Modi, he takes the helicopter up there to Kedarnath.
Kedarnath.
Yeah.
Kedarnath.
Yeah, he worships Lord Shiva. Yeah, Narendra Modi. Yeah, he takes the helicopter up. Yeah, he goes on helicopters. I guess he has a few helicopters in the garage. He goes up to Kedarnath in the Himalayas.
Yeah.
Does puja for Lord Shiva. Yeah, and there was Varanasi. There was Kashi Vishwanath temple renovation. All the land was lost, and then the big boulevard all the way from Kashi Vishwanath temple to Maganga. It's like a BJP. It was good, amazing achievement. Kashi Vishwanath. Without getting into politics here, but they used that's what they like. Reviving the. Of course, they're working on Ayodhya now, and there's Ganga cleanup is BJP, and Ganga Ghat is BJP. Ganga Ghat, Prabhupada Ghat, BJP.
there is a heliport in the Morocco campus.
A what?
A heliport.
Yeah, that's for you. You call up, I've had enough of this Bhakti Vaibhav stuff, come and pick me up. Take you off wherever you go. We're sufficiently surcharged, that's for the Bhakti Vaibhav students to go out preaching.
So I have a couple of questions. Like here, from the beginning, for the Dhritarashtra, Prabhupada is mentioning Vidura is saying that he was in a very humiliating situation. So for a Kshatriya, it's like a humiliation, it's like a kind of dishonor. But he was never addressed as like Kshatrabandhu. But here we see like Brahmabandhu, Duj Bandhus are mentioned.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah, well, he's addressed as Raja by Yudhishthira, that's the point that Prabhupada makes. So let's take a look at text. Another question?
Yeah.
Another question?
Another is like, I don't know whether it's there or not, because like Vidura, as in mentioned, like when he came back, so it was like life for everyone. Life for everyone. My question is that when he was so life for everyone, when he was leaving, nobody, not finding that nobody resisted him, stay back, or what Duryodhana said, nobody told against him.
They're obviously the in the palace. Obviously, everyone was very overjoyed to see Vidura because they don't have news. You go on a pilgrimage like that. There's no news. We don't hear anything. When Gauranga Mahaprabhu was tricked by Nityananda Abadut Goshai to spend time in Shantipur, and they bought Sachimata on Palanquin. And when she's in the courtyard and Gauranga comes out and she sees him shaven-headed and saffron for the first time, she's overwhelmed with tears. He's overwhelmed with tears falling down. Takes her on his lap. She takes him on her lap, and the first thing she says is, "Don't do like Vishwarup. Don't do like Vishwarup." We never heard anything. We never heard again. Tomra Shab Korite Paro Gamon Agamon Ganga Snane Kabu Habe Tar Agamon. You can all go regularly to Jagannath Puri. Ganga Snane Kabu Habe Tar Agamon, and he may also come again to take bath in Maganga. So in this way it was decided that Gauranga remain in Jagannath Puri on the request of Sachimata, so that she could get news of him. So they were overjoyed, that we hadn't heard anything. He's come back. Who knows where he? Who knows he's left his body or what? We don't know. He comes back. So they're overjoyed. Can we read text 35? Purport. You can just take a look at that and draw some points of significance from the purport of text 35.
Because of
Just individually you can read. Some thoughts on this purport?
Unless one is convinced of a better life after renunciation, one cannot stick to the renounced body.
Thank you. Yes?
This is, from my understanding, this is what, because I do. Sanjaya, he never judged his master. He was very loyal. He was a disciple of Vyasadeva, but he never, thought that, oh, Dhritarashtra is a fool or he is very attached. He's still thinking how he was still having compassion towards his master, that, he lost so much sons and all. And he was so loyal. I would have judged him. I would have said, oh, good, he left. I am that at level, but there's so much to learn from him.
Why was he thinking that Dhritarashtra had left?
Frustration, he was thinking about frustration.
Yeah.
He was not doing.
Discuss frustration. And then Prabhupada comments that type of renunciation will not last. You have to have the positive inspiration. So Prabhupada's commenting here about his own experience. Please, we're not ashamed. We're not ashamed. Please read.
We are not ashamed to admit that this fact was experienced in our practical life. Were we not favored by His divine grace, Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, by our first meeting for a few minutes only, it would have been impossible for us to accept this mighty task of describing Srimad Bhagavatam in English.
Yeah, so here Prabhupada now, this is elaborating on what he means by, when he's talking about, he says that
What does we mean here?
Yeah, one's convinced of a better life. Unless one is convinced of a better life. That's a polite way of saying I. In Victorian English. Victorian English. We. It's a polite way of saying I. We are not ashamed to admit. Prabhupada, occasionally he mentions that the order to present Srimad Bhagavatam in English is given by Sanatana Saraswati Thakur. You can do research, but whether Sanatana Saraswati Thakur specifically mentions Srimad Bhagavatam to Prabhupada or not is not clear. But Prabhupada takes it as an order from his Guru. Although whether he specifically mentioned, definitely in Ulta Danga in the first meeting he doesn't say Srimad Bhagavatam. But Prabhupada takes that, that's the last breath to fulfill the order of the Guru. So that's interesting. Prabhupada's understanding the desire of Sanatana Saraswati Thakur, even though he specifically may not have mentioned translating Srimad Bhagavatam in English. He said the Gaudavani, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, you preach in English. That's very interesting that Prabhupada has the vision that he's ordered by his Guru to translate Srimad Bhagavatam into English. It's very wonderful. Prabhupada has that vision. Because obviously to preach Gauravani in Sanskrit, in English, means presenting Srimad Bhagavatam, which wasn't there in English. So then, please read.
Without seeing him at the opportune moment, he could have become a very great business magnate. But never would we have been able to walk the path of liberation and be engaged in the factual service of the Lord under instruction of His divine grace.
That's what I consider an example of Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha Sarvasiddhi Guru. And Prabhupada here credits that, he attributes that brief meeting to the cause of him being able to do what he's done. If it wasn't for that brief meeting, nothing would have. That's such humility. Even Prabhupada was so qualified, so trained, so competent, such an ideal, but he attributes the success to that brief meeting. If my Guru hadn't delivered me with that meeting, none of this would have happened. Such humility. And what's Sanjay's response when Yudhishthira comes and says that, where is Dhritarashtra? What's Sanjay's response? What does he say? Sanjay.
He feels cheated.
He feels cheated.
Without telling, because everything Dhritarashtra would talk and discuss with Sanjay.
Can I ask a question? Sorry to get but like here we are seeing that this wife of Dhritarashtra, Gandhari, she also left.
Yeah.
Because as here we are able to see he is going for like self-realization in the jungle. But generally we see the queens are not prone to those kind of austerities.
The which?
The queens are not so prone to this kind of austerities because they are raised in very aristocratic way and so much so.
Well, Gandhari is not your ordinary queen. She's considered ideal amongst chaste ladies. So she follows him. She follows him. She's ideal. Gandhari, ideal amongst chaste ladies.
So in this wild conversation, Gandhari was also there with Dura.
Well, the value, for her, it's more important to follow her husband. That's a higher value than her own personal comfort. So she follows him to serve him. He's there. She follows him to serve menial service, like Kardama and Devahuti. They're doing tapasya, and the wife is serving the husband while he's performing tapasya. But she became lean. Devahuti became thin and lean, and so he produced the aerial mansion. So this is the vow of the chaste wife. She'll follow the husband. Sita Devi, she followed Lord Ramchandra into the forest. Revati
My
Nandan.
question, in fact I have two questions. One regarding the life of Prabhupada, when he mentioned in the purport, we have cheated our family members to engage in the service of Srimad Bhagavatam. What does it refer to? The fact that he left them to compile, to write?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Prabhupada didn't get a letter of permission from his wife to take sannyas. He just stopped going home. Prabhupada just got frustrated with it and stopped going back to home, and then went and was residing in preaching in Delhi, and as he was in the Bhakti Saranga, his samadhi is just behind the housing, Bhakti Sharanga Goswami Maharaj. He was one of the sannyasis that was sent to London by Saraswati Thakur. And he departed in 1964, before Prabhupada even went to the West. But he was supporting Prabhupada in Delhi, and Prabhupada was editing works. So Saranga, his ashram is just behind the housing there. You can visit Nanda Acharya Bhavan. Yeah. Yeah, so how did we get on to him anyway? Yeah, well, but Prabhupada was living there. Prabhupada just stopped going home. So Prabhupada, he cheated, he stopped going home. Yeah, and then there are other examples given. Prabhupada gives other examples of great souls cheating others, now that we've brought up the topic. Great souls cheat others for a great cause. The examples he gives, Prabhupada gives a few examples. Raghunath Das Goswami. Yeah, that's interesting. You can go to that place, it's not far from here. We visited a few months ago with Mayapur Tourism. This house of Yadanandana Acharya, Raghunath Das Goswami Badi. And where the deity was worshipped, and the deities, we're assuming they're the deities of Yadanandana Acharya, and he said, find the pujari, he's not coming. And Raghunath Das said, yes, Guruji, whatever you order, I'll do. And he walks off, and he's thinking, wow, such an opportunity to leave. And